Welcome to the introduction to Lip Sync Animator. In this tutorial, I want to show you how you can make a little video just like this. Hey, what's up? This is Santa Claus. This is Santa Claus. Ho ho ho! Ho 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 ho! But also turn it into code and put it on your device so it'll work on iPhone, iPad, tvOS, macOS, and several other platforms. For step 1, you need to decide on your layers. For a really simple animation, you only really need to have 2 layers. You need to have like the background layer and maybe a layer for the mouth that's actually going to be moving. Feel free to set this up on paper like I'm doing, do it in your head, or you can do it any other way. It doesn't really matter though, just have a plan ahead of time. Step 2 is to get all of your assets ready. Now most importantly, you need to have all your images ready in one spot, ready to go. If you plan to use image assets, that's great. We can handle those perfectly. You need to have an image asset for each sort of frame that you want to be able to use. So for in our case, we have one picture of Santa Claus as the background, and we have several mouths and several eyes, because those are the ones that are actually going to be moving. In step 3, you want to import all of your assets into Xcode. This means all the PNGs and or audio that you may already have. Now if you don't have audio already, that's alright. You can record it within our app. But don't rely on our app for recording high quality audio. You should use a different app for that. Alright, it's finally time to open up Lip Sync Animator. When you open it up for the first time, a project will already be created for you. Now let's create an animation. First, you want to name it something that you'll be able to recall easily, as it's going to be an action when you call it in Swift. Now, record some audio. Audio is important because every animation needs audio. Clicking the record button will already start the recording for you, and you just have to click it one more time to stop it. I'm playing back the audio just to see if I like it. Now I'm going to save it and use it. Of course, I could have just recorded audio using a different app and imported it. Now I'm going to click save. I'm going to save it somewhere inside of my Xcode project so that I can import it into Xcode later. The next thing you want to do is set up layers and your canvas. Now it's important to remember that the layers are static within different animations, meaning that you're going to create the layers once for all the animations that you'll use. Now I clicked the plus button at the top right of the screen to add a new layer. Then I decided to add an image to the layer by clicking the X button. Unfortunately, the Santa Claus image is too big, so we're going to resize the canvas. Alright, 400 by 600 pixels seems to work pretty good, so I'm going to position the Santa Claus image in the center. Now I'm going to create 2 new layers. Each of the layers is going to have to do with one of the eyes, so I'm going to select all of the different eye images out of my assets catalog and click the choose button. I'm going to position this eye where I want it for the first eye, and then I'm going to repeat the same process for the second eye. As you can see, this eye has all of those images that it can access whenever it wants. Now that I have my 2 eye layers in place, I'm going to add one more layer for the mouth. I'm going to select all the mouth images from the assets catalog. And just like the eyes, I'm going to move the mouth into position. Now I'm finally ready to start animating. So I'm going to click the timeline at the very bottom of the screen to select it. I can press the play button on the timeline, or I can press the space bar to start the animation. Of course, there's no animation yet, there's only audio. I can scrub the audio and animation using the arrow keys. I'm going to start off by animating the mouth first, so I'm going to make sure that the mouth layer is selected. Then I'm going to start scrubbing the audio until I start hearing a voice. Then I'm going to start using the numbers on the keyboard to start animating. If I hold command while pressing the arrow keys, I can jump back and forth between different frames that I've already animated. So I'm going to start over from the very beginning and press play again. As you can see, the animation works. It might take several minutes to actually animate this entire thing, so I'm just going to press the play button and start pressing a whole bunch of numbers all at once. That way you can see how it turns out. Press play again without pressing the numbers, and as you can see, it's animating. Of course, it's not synced up to the audio as it would if you actually spent time doing it, but hopefully you get the idea. So now, I'm going to switch to the eyes, because we don't only just want to animate the mouth, we also want to animate the eyes. You can switch between layers by either clicking the layer itself or pressing the up and down arrows to cycle between them. Now, I'm going to animate the eye, just like I did in the last one, by just pressing a whole bunch of numbers randomly. Once I'm done animating this eye, I'm going to do the same thing for the other eye. On a side note, if you want to use an image that correlates with a 2-digit number, like 10 for instance, then you would hold the command button and then press those numbers. So command 10 or command 99. Now it's time to export our Swift code. So it's pretty easy. Either hold command and press E, or go to File and Export Code. Choose appropriate settings and then export it inside your Xcode project. Import the Swift file into your Xcode project, and of course, you gotta make sure that you have that audio file from earlier. Now open up one of your view controllers inside of Xcode. First, we're going to create an instance of the class that we created before. This is just a subclass of UI view, so it's just going to be added as a subview of the view controller's view. Now, we're going to run the animation that we created inside Lip Sync Animator. So let's look for that animation called Santa Speaks. We're going to say it's not going to loop, and we're going to put in a completion block that just prints good job to the console. Now, let's just hit build and run, and we can see how our application looks.